Hey everybody, it's Tyler here at the Mall of America Signature event. We're checking with the legendary 2145Z. It's Pink Shinee Unicorns. Legendary team this one has been, and another fantastic robot that they're bringing here as well. Look at the simplicity in this robot overall. So much great things that go into this, utilizing a claw for pretty much everything that we see in terms of scoring, and then also these side rollers we're going to dive more into, a bit more on their code, just what's gone into the match strategy so far. A lot you can learn from this team. So let's learn more about them coming up here on Pits and Parts. Hey everyone, fun coverage of VEX content may be coming to an end. If you're a business or organization that would benefit from reaching a global robotics audience, or even if you're an EP of a VEX event, please head over to funroboticsnetwork.com/partner to get more information on how to get involved. You can also directly support Fun through YouTube Join and get early access to scheduled content. Every bit keeps our cameras in your pits, and we'll have full details on in a separate video, but I really want to wish all the teams the best at Override. We really hope to see you there. Thanks for listening. Nikhil, overall, this robot, we've seen so much complexity, I think, in this game so far. Your team has gone a really simple route, and it looks fantastic and performs great, too. Let's talk about the general ethos of what this robot is so far.
Yeah, so I think for this game, we were watching a lot of matches and analyzing the strategy, and we determined that you don't really need anything on the actual bot besides toggles, lift, and a claw. And we see a lot of teams run intakes. They run complicated designs to funnel the cups and pins into their claw. But we determined that we don't actually need that to have a great robot that can do all parts of the game and also be competitive. So I think we decided that we just want to claw and we want to allocate motors to our side rollers, which we'll talk about later. And just want to make a robot as simple, as skinny, and as light and fast as possible. And I think that we made a great choice, because in our matches we haven't actually had to use our intake and other functions.
So you guys are just a few matches in so far, right? How are you feeling about that decision as you are competing here at Mall of America?
I think it gets everything we needed to get done, and I think also toggles are such an imperative part of this game that we're glad that we allocated our motors to the toggles, and I think it's been going well.
And I think going even simpler too is you guys had a 360 claw and you decided to take that off. So Julian, talk to me about that decision to not go with the 360 claw on the spot.
So we actually had a 360 claw yesterday, but we found that it came with a few issues. One of those mainly being the fact that because it was a 360 claw and we didn't have any sort of ratcheting system on it, that claw could, if another robot, for example, were to push it, then the claw would become slightly offset, preventing a pin and cone to be able to be stacked vertically, as that it would be angled to the side just a little bit. And then we had code for that claw to be flipped 180 degrees. So for example, if our auto misses a pin in the alliance goal, then we would be able to flip the claw 180 and load the stack upside down. But we find that it was just too unreliable and inconsistent. So keeping with this simplicity theme, we decided to get rid of that and just hard mount our claw so that it would be consistent enough to so Ronald could rely on it during matches.
Do you think in future events, so that might be something that comes back, some sort of wrist or articulation there?
Yeah, definitely. A 360 claw is going to be super useful eventually, but I think just for the sake of Mall of America and it being one of the first SIGs, we wanted to keep things simple enough so we could learn more about strategy and other parts of the game. And we'll come back to 360 eventually.
And Santi, one of the advantages of going that route too is now you have these side rollers that are powered as well too. So talk to me about why this is special and unique versus maybe some other teams and what they're doing for their toggle.
Yeah, so with the 80 watt limit, we also have the limit of the 55 watts on the drivetrain, so that leaves us with 33 watts elsewhere. And so we only needed 22 watts on the lift, and so we had 11 watts elsewhere. Removing the lift, that left us 11 watts for anything else we needed. And we realized that a big part of the game is trying to push people off the toggles. You can't really, with a tank drive, you can't really push people off the toggles sideways. You have to push them forward and back. And so while doing that, you can't really switch the toggles when you're pushing forward and back if you just have these standard toggle mechanisms here. But with these side rollers, while you're pushing them, you're able to spin these. You only can spin it. If you spin these at the same time, you're able to switch the toggles right as you're pushing them, essentially gaining that advantageous position and also getting your color there at the same time.
Do you think that could possibly be maybe one of the new metas that come out, that we start to see a lot more teams having something like this?
Yeah, I think there's been similar designs, not these rollers, but some things that from the side can switch it. But I think these will become really something that we'll see more and more as teams realize that like this is very limited, having just the standard toggles in the front and back. And maybe we'll see some teams also like trying to ration motors like this. So we'll see how that goes.
How difficult has it been to like ration motors this year, maybe compared to previous seasons?
Yeah, I think originally when we were considering doing an intake, it was more of a challenge. But as the season went on, I think having just keeping this simplicity theme that we had, I think we found that we had enough motors. But I think in the future, it'll be much harder when things get more complex and people start trying to do different types of mechanisms. But I think that'll see teams getting more creative and using different aspects like more complex banding on the lip or things like that.
Sean, let's talk about sensors on your robot here, and what are some of the key ones that have gone into making the bot successful so far?
Yep, so on the bottom of our bot, we have one IMU here, and that helps us feed into our PID system, which is our proportional integral derivative system. This is also paired with our 6 IMUs, which are our internal motor encoders, which are on our drivetrain of our base. This, along with our 2 distance sensors on both sides of our robots, featured here and here, allow us to put our robot on a simulated Cartesian coordinate grid system, so we can tell our robot to go to a specific X, Y, and theta polar coordinate system.
Can you talk a little about like how successful your skills challenges have been so far?
So our skills challenges, we've had a few routes that we've had in mind to actually implement, and having a coordinate system in which we can tell our robot to go to helps us create a whole bunch of different routes that we can actually utilize in this competition.
Sure. Warren, let's jump more into the programming side of your robot here. One of the things I know we wanted to highlight and show was your brain screen as well too, but is there anything else you want to cover on this bot so far?
Yeah, so our brain screen, this is fairly unique. So on the left side, we see all of our autonomous paths. Now, each of these are color-coded, so when we're on the red aligned side, the buttons will be red so that we could visually very clearly see that we're in the correct alliance. And then the same goes for the blue. If the button's blue, that means we're going to be on the blue lines. And then now towards the down, when we go down here, we see green is our skills, and that these grayed out autonomouses are more for testing purposes. For example, one of our codes is the arm height capture. Now, this being a tower stacking game, we have to get a very accurate representation of how high the pin is. So by moving the arm up, we are able to get the specific height that we want to put inside the code. Now in the middle, we have the arrow buttons for ease of use, our percentage of the battery so that we can check on before competitions so we don't run out of battery in the middle of a match. And we also have a animated screen on the left, which showcases what the autonomous looks like without having to, really have to worry about if we're doing the right thing or not.
For tuning your height in particular too, have you noticed that there's been any difference here at Mall of America versus maybe what you've been trying to tune at home in terms of getting the height correct?
Actually, surprisingly, they have been very close together.
Sure.
So we haven't had that many issues when it comes towards that. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that for sure. And last thing I want to highlight a little bit more into is match strategy and what you guys have seen so far. So let's pass it over to Ronald, talk about that aspect for things. So you guys, I think, are 3 matches in so far, something like that, as we're filming this right now. What have you seen in this game so far that has either surprised you or has worked out the way you thought it would be? Talk to us more about how that's been going.
Yeah, so actually there's been 2 competitions before this Mall of America competition. And as we've seen those competitions progress, we realized that earlier, like at those competitions, that the teams would only stack all the yellow cones as it's worth double the amount of points as your alliance color cones. But as like you realize, everyone is fighting for those toggles right at the end of the match, and if you lose your toggles, you lose all of the points that you guys get. So to combat this issue, most of the teams here at the Mall of America signature event are starting to score their own color pins on all of the different stakes. And the reason why that they would score their own color pins is because those are guaranteed points that you can't lose at any point of the match unless like you accidentally knock them over yourself. So our strategy this season has been to score all of our alliance color pins inside of the neutral goal, while we score all of the yellow pins in our alliance goal. And the reason why we chose to do this was because that all of the pins in the neutral goal, they can't be touched by either our alliance or the other alliance, but the pins in our alliance goal, we are able to actually descore those pins without getting a penalty. So if we did lose our toggle at the end of the match, we would descore all of our pins instead, as that kind of combats like how they would get all of the points compared to us getting none of the points. And with our strategy so far, in our last match against Snacky Cakes, we kind of like didn't play as we wanted to because since we don't have 360 claw anymore, we're not able to score just pins or just cones by itself because of the set height our claw is at, because it grabs right in between the pin and the cone. So we had to switch driver stations at the last second as it's easier for the driver to see when you're like up close to the match loader. And we weren't able to efficiently play the strategy we wanted to play because we're just a little bit too aggressive.
Well, Pink Shinee Unicorns, it has always been a pleasure to check in with your team. And once again, congratulations on a great start to the season so far. I think there's a lot of things that teams can take some inspiration from, and I can't wait to follow your journey throughout the season. You guys are all seniors, right? So we can't wait to see, of course, how you do in your finale year, and we wish you best of luck all the way through. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Help us achieve our next goal by being one of the 50,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on all future fun content.